What is going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Thursday. Look, it's last night was a nightmare night for me in the NBA. I got basically everything wrong. Jokic being sat for the entire first half after 2 quick fouls, I did not see coming, and had a ton of Jokic, obviously, so that did not work out well. It was not my night, but we jump back after it. We get back after it tonight. I'm just going to go through the process of just sort of the real first look stuff that I'm going to do because I've just uploaded dummy lineups, and I'm gonna go through the whole process for those of you. Most of you guys know how to do this. You do this all the time, but I did want to go through it and just give you guys an idea of just exactly what it how you start these builds. And this is truly a first look, so remember things are subject to change, and also remember that we're really just going to go over some of the original ideas because by the end of the day, we know the NBA slates are going to be very, very different. But I'll show you guys what my plans are for the day, starting with this. All right, so we're going to go just upload our entries from DraftKings. Super easy. Download template file. Oops, am I on FanDuel? I guess I'm on FanDuel. We'll upload FanDuel. FanDuel is a little bit extra work. You have to click the download CSV template. Okay, we go right back, and then I'm just going to load it, and we're going to run our first builds together here today. Anybody has any questions or thoughts or anything about the site or anything like that, please pop them on in there. We do have as I mentioned, we've got some great deals out there. We're charging just a tiny bit more than SaberSim, and we basically have all the SaberSim content, which is it's all the SaberSim, contest sims and everything. We've got all of Sheets' projections, all of Goldie's projections, obviously SaberSim's projections, all of my content, all of Goldie, Rhodey, Brendan Cruz. And we're trying to do a lot more roundtable coaching and things like that this year. So wanted to get into that. So first, let's load up FanDuel. Let's load up DraftKings. I'm really bad with the sales pitches thing. I just hate doing it, but I know we kind of have to because we need to convert some people into some members here. We've been doing a lot of free stuff for a while, and we're going to start be doing a lot more members only shows, things like that. All right, let's get to it. Let's start with the first build, and then I'm going to go through each game after we do this. We'll see what we get initially. Then I'm gonna change my projections and everything to try to suit what we like. I do always want to remind people that if you're using TrueDFS through SaberSim through TrueDFS, or vice versa, depending on how you look at it, TrueDFS/SaberSim, I would like for you guys to take a look at just making sure that you're using the updated projections as far as these slates go, because there are times where Sheets and Goldie are not going to be able to keep up with SaberSim if something happens 5 minutes before lock, which, as we all know, in the NBA happens pretty regularly. So I just wanted to say that for every other sport, I use Goldie or Sheets' projections. One of them, both of them combined with SaberSim, things like that. But I do not use, I use mostly SaberSim projections for basketball just because it's so up to the minute, unless it's like the playoffs or something like that. Then I would use Sheets and Goldies. Mike Conley, let's just make him 29. We're just going to change two things because we have to per DraftKings rules, and we'll just make this 21. And then let's build our lineups and see where we go. And then we're going to go through each game and talk about what we like. I'll do the same thing on FanDuel in just a minute. And also want to remind you guys, please give us hit the like button when you do these. We're doing these for free, and we're just trying to really get this site going and everything. And it does help if you just sort of show us some support, even if it's a like button, if nothing else. And also for those of you who haven't tried it yet, try the SaberSim Plus Ultimate. It's an awesome deal. It's only 3 days, but it literally will give you the ultimate stuff, which is $320 a month. And you'll see exactly how we build and all that stuff. So look at this, projections already updating because probably news coming in as we come on, as they're generally during morning shoot arounds. And that's probably what's happening this morning. Let me see. Ja Morant was around for shoot around. Ja Morant questionable, even though he was president shoot around. Okay, well, we'll see. All right, so this is the first run. We'll do it with the sims and without them, and then we'll go through my process, what I like to do on these slates. And usually it's going to involve backloading because you have 2 games early on. You just have a lot of decisions you can make by these, the 9 Eastern, 9:30 Eastern, 10 Eastern games. You're going to have a lot of decisions based on the first game. So the more decisions, the good thing. Also, there tends to be players ruled out after lock every single day, even on small slates. So we're going to treat this as such. All right. So let's see. This is with just the sims, just without doing anything. This is what SaberSim is going to give us. And we will see if we like it. All right. So let me just stretch my screen a little bit here. Am I sharing the right screen, by the way? Let me just double check here because I'm not I'm assuming that I am. Yeah, I am. Okay, good. It just shows up differently on my computer than it usually does. That's kind of weird. All right. So you can see getting just all kinds of the Utah stuff, like with a massive min destination ROI. I'm sorry, not Utah stuff of the Minnesota at Utah. Little Gobert revenge, obviously for Minnesota. We have no DiVincenzo. Naz Reid is questionable. It feels a little bit over projected to me. Just top of my head, but the truth is, it's a later game anyway, so I'd probably deal with that later on in my look. So let's go through each game now. I'll jump over to FanDuel after this to see what else stands out from a general perspective, but we'll go with this to start off with. It's obviously giving me all kinds of LeBron with no AD. I think that makes sense against Washington. I think that LeBron is probably going to end up a core play. We'll just click on him for now. I'll finalize my core plays and show my exact exposures a little bit later to our site. But as of right now, LeBron is a core play. It feels like there should be something else we should do here. And I'm just wondering if they're giving these guys enough of a boost. Jackson Hayes, but it's not like you need to do it. It is, the price is a little bit up. I don't mind any of these other things, but nobody whose projections I massively want to change. I would make LeBron's. Look, it's not going to make a huge difference. I'll go to 56. I think he's got a higher median today than maybe being accounted for. I think Austin Reeves too. The only issue is just his price, but I'm still going to give him a tiny boost to 41, just because I think he's got a chance for a big upside game here. And Max Christie, getting none of him is probably the wrong idea, but I don't know. We'll see later on. There's a lot of other stuff out there. A lot of Utah business today. All right. On the other side, every day, SaberSim absolutely loves Jordan Poole. I am going to go the other way and actually bump up Kyle Kuzma. I kind of like him in this matchup. I know it's a revenge or whatever, but it's not in LA. But giving him a pretty decent bump. I think 34 is maybe a little bit aggressive for him, but I do want to give myself a chance to get some more exposure there. Pretty much going to leave most of the rest the same. I was saying yesterday, and I still ended up with him in one of my big buy-ins, which kind of pissed me off because it was just my bad. But I just don't like, Kaishan George for small slates is okay. You're just going to have so many like teen and single digit games. I just don't love that he keeps popping. And I like that he's not quite as much today. I'm just curious because I'm guessing Sarr's back today. I wonder if Joe Val, sits or anybody sits today. Sarr is questionable officially. It's a back-to-back. We'll see what happens later, but I do wonder about that one. Atlanta and Cleveland, great pace spot for Cleveland. For whatever reason, SaberSim also always seems to like DeAndre Hunter. I'm going to downgrade him a tiny bit, not much, but I just think it's a little bit too high sometimes. If they're going to stay in this game, you would think like with their bodies available, without Bogdanovich, without Jalen Johnson, without Capella, that we should be getting to more here. Now, they did up Okongwu's price. I think he's completely in play here. I actually think this is a little bit low on a number. I'm just going to make it a little bit higher. Risa Shea, I think, is probably a little bit better of a play than he's getting credit for. And I think Trey without these guys is a bigger boost than they're accounting for. So I'm actually going to make Trey's a little bit higher, even on the back-to-back. And there is blowout risk. That's the reason why the median isn't higher. But all of those guys, I definitely have a little more interest in than maybe the field does. This game should be played pretty quick. And look, it's a back-to-back. We'll see what happens. But I do think Cleveland has been tough, but they haven't been quite as good. And as you can see, they've got a bunch of questionables tonight. I assume we lose Mitchell tonight. We get Darius Garland. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to make Garland's projection higher anyway. Even if we don't lose Mitchell, I think it should be a little bit higher. And then the Ty Jerome thing is going to come up again. It ended up coming through late yesterday. Didn't start off so well for that. Jalen Tyson started. So we'll have to see starters and all that. But as of right now, I'm kind of content just to leave the rest the way it is until we get official word on the Mitchell-Mobley situation on the back-to-back. It would not surprise me if at least one of them sits. And if that happens, I think we have Jared Allen and Darius Garland season all over the place. I'll probably get my stuff out a little bit later today than usual, just because I don't want to do anything. There's no reason for me to try to show you my exposures until we have at least some idea of the morning shoot around, even of the Darius Garland, of the Donovan Mitchell. I just have a feeling that Cleveland's doing the thing now where they're resting guys on the back-to-backs because they've got a pretty healthy lead. I'm curious to see what they do tonight, to be honest with you. So if they do that, we're going to have a lot of Cleveland exposure. All right. Later games. Only reason I'm not going to mess with these projections much right now is, why did I have 29? I should have this at 25. Excuse me. And Nikhil Alexander Walker should be at 20. Yeah, the early projections were way too high on this, and we're going to rerun and see exactly how too high they were. It was almost like they were treating it like Anthony Edwards was out. We also don't know about Naz Reid. He's just questionable. So I like that it's a later game that I can make my decisions a little bit later in the day. I don't necessarily agree with all these projections, but I'm okay with leaving the rest sort of similar at the moment, just because, again, I'm going to be able to adjust later. I actually would prefer maybe getting to – I don't mind Gobert in the little revenge matchup today. I think the projection might be a little high. I'll tweak that one a little bit just to get a realistic idea, and we'll just go down these guys a little bit because I feel like everybody's getting a little overprojected. Leaving Jaden McDaniels, the guy's been awesome lately. I'm gonna see if he can keep rolling it out there. Large field tournament play would be Rob Dillingham. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that yet, but I would say I'll maybe throw in the 14 on him. It's the kind of matchup where they could win easily, and you could see him just getting hot on the road and maybe staying on the court, and just an interesting way to get different value on these small slates. Not getting to anything from the Utah side, but if John Collins, Walker Kessler, and Johnny Juzang are out again, we will get back to Utah. That's again why there's no real need for me until probably 3 Eastern time at the earliest to get my early exposures up, because there's really no value without knowing what's happening in at least after shoot around in Utah and in Cleveland with all those Q tags. We also have Şengün and Adams questionable, and it's very hard to analyze what to do with this situation. Tari Eason is coming back. We know Amin Thompson has sort of thrust himself into the role of being the man. He's a guy I generally go over on. It's just a tiny increase, but these little percentage points make a difference, by the way. I also think Tari Eason has a lot of upside here, and it's Memphis, who plays super fast. This could be a Tari Eason game. So I'm just going to bump his projection up a little bit, probably throw him into a hand build as well. And it's probably going to keep me off everybody else. But if Şengün and Adams are out, we're going to be loading up on Houston, just like we will Cleveland. So those will probably be the main points, along with potentially some Minnesota. The Minnesota projections at first look today were very, very weird. All right, the Memphis side of things. Let me see my exposure. Gigi Jackson, look, we're going to assume that he keeps playing more and more minutes. I'm okay with it. I don't think it's like a lock play. 40% might be a little bit high. Maybe just to even out a little bit, we go to 17, because I think that's. Let's see, did Goldie do his? Goldie's got him at 13. So, yeah, I don't know why the 17 just feels a bit aggressive. Let's just go to 16. Sort of split the difference on that one. Brandon Clark, and I'm gonna have to edit these back later, obviously, just to give you guys a first look. I wanted to go through it my way. Brandon Clark obviously is always okay for take a shot for value, but we're really not gonna take any shots with Ja Morant in a competitive game against the teams that are fighting for the second seed in the West. If he plays, I'm interested, and I'm gonna bump him up to 43. I'm going a little bit aggressive on that. I'd like to get exposure. I think this is the kind of game where you're going to see the best of it from it. The Memphis players' minutes, where they're always right around 30 projected. We've got Morant if he plays at 29, Bane at 31. This might be the 34 to 38 game for these guys, and that's just a huge difference. So that's really the one I'm going to tweak for now. I'm going to bump Bane up actually a little bit. And where are we at? Let me just double check where Jaren Jackson Jr. is. The price is, it's not like an amazing thing, but I'm just going to go a little bit up for this kind of a game. Feel like you get a little extra run out of these guys, and I'll take the 3 best players and just give them a little bit of an increase in projections, pretty much no matter what happens later. Look, it has not worked out for me. He was horrible. I am going to say that Paolo is being under projected here, and I am going to put him around 46 in this matchup. I think he's got a chance to have a big game tonight. Wagner coming back more. I think he's got a chance to have a game tonight. These are both guys I want to have more interest, more than the field. Or at least at the moment, I want to have more in the field. We'll see what happens later on with the news. But they're really the only pieces I really got to that I have interest of. If you end up with a KCP lineup on a small slate while he's cheap, no issue. But I'm not really going to ever do anything with him. I'm never raising his projection. I'll lower it. I'm not going to raise it. All right. And then on the Portland side, they just have too many guys doing things. But Avdia has been great to me. The last 2 times out, almost won me the alley-oop the night before last. Couldn't quite get there, but we were close. We finished 6th. And I think that Avdia is totally reasonable. Jeremy Grant, if he's out, bump up Avdia. But as of right now, they're just playing so many guys. You're playing like a little bit of a guessing game of who's going to get hot. The only one who's the exception a little bit is somewhat Simons, because he's kind of locked into the minutes. Not a great matchup, but on a small slate, yeah, I guess you know what, DeAndre Ayton is one I can talk myself into bumping up a little bit. He was terrific the other night. It almost feels like they're showing him off now. Like when he's at home too, he plays better, and they actually let him roll. So I bumped him up a tiny bit. So now with all that stuff done, let's see how much it changes our builds at our first look. And again, like I said, I'll get my content out later today, but it would be pretty useless to do much earlier. And I'm still figuring out the screen. Like I've got this new screen, but it's way too big for my desk. So I'm trying to figure out this way to try and like get everything organized. But meanwhile, you guys are seeing the side of my face quite a bit, which is a little awkward for me. Wouldn't have been so bad when I was like, 25 pounds lighter, but it is what it is. All right. Let's give us a second and let these things cook. And you can see we didn't make massive tweaks. We were talking about a few points at the most in some cases, but that's literally the difference between a guy that might be like, especially when as it applies to value, it's literally you might be getting 75% of a guy or like 0 of a guy, just making some of those little tweaks. And yesterday with the late news where I messed up on DraftKings, it did not hurt me on FanDuel was Saberson went pretty hard on Jalen Tyson and not on Ty Jerome. So I went from having like 75% Ty Jerome or 70% to, which I really wanted more like 60 anyway. So to be honest, I didn't want the 75%. I wanted like 60. But then you see what happens afterwards, and it's like, I don't know, it just feels like it was weird. The way the Tyson thing worked out. I actually think this number might be a little bit high on Nah as a, okay, we're going to leave it for right now at 20. I mean, I lowered it already, but you could tell me that seems a little bit high to me. And it just, I don't love I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he's a really good real life basketball player. Like he plays defense. He's versatile. He can create. He's unselfish, but he's not a DFS darling. Many of you guys have learned that throughout the years if you've been familiar with NBA. Quick reminder, guys, 28 of you in here right now, or whatever, 50 of you, depending on where you're looking. Click the like button. Give us this, subscribe if you're not here. We have a lot of great content. We've got Adam Perry doing, check out Adam Perry's videos. He's really, really good brain for the NHL stuff, but also for any kind of, he just understands how to utilize projections really well. So I want to shout out Adam Perry, who's doing a great job, but he just joined our team. Also, Brandon Cruz, we got NASCAR coming up, big NASCAR season coming up. I'm excited about that. And obviously, always, appreciate you guys here for Sheets and I as well as Rody and the rest of the gang. We're gonna get Kenny doing some golf. You can't just can't go and have a guy winning mini maxes and not be sharing his insight on golf with us. So we're gonna get Kenny doing some stuff for us as well. All right. So this is where the ownership ended up on me, and it's because I didn't change this Jordan Poole number. I think I literally, if I make it 37, we get lowered to closer to where we want to go. But this, look, it's an early look at the slate. I don't really know where I'm going to end up with all of it. We did raise a pretty hefty amount on Kuzma. It is a back-to-back, and but I do like the Kuzma play tonight. I don't know if I'm going to have that much of it. Obviously, news is going to dictate a lot of where we're at later today, but you can see a much more reasonable spread than what we had earlier. And to be honest with you, this number on LeBron, that might be too low. If you're not, and if we're doing that, Austin Reeves should be in a decent percentage of other lineups, and we did not get to any of them because of his price. It is a lot to pay for him. It's also the kind of matchup I think he gets 50 plenty of the time. So I'm just going to keep a note of that and just go 42 so I can maybe get to a little bit exposure later. But it also is Rui Hachimura. We just had this game, so in LA. But you get a little Rui revenge, and he actually looks like a good play. With no AD, I think Rui might be under projected as well. So I think I'm going to probably end up with more of the Lakers. But that's where I'm at for right now. Just wanted to run it through with you guys, and then we'll run a quick build on SaberSim using the raw projections and the contest sims and see what it's giving us on FanDuel that might be a little bit different than our DraftKings. But no reason to go game through game on each one. Just wanted to sort of touch on it. Usually FanDuel slates are a little bit different than DraftKings slates. Tonight is not the case. This feels like a long week to me. I don't know why, but it feels like a long week. Maybe it's because I had a really nice run on Tuesday, and then last night just got crushed, and Monday I just lost a little bit. But I don't know. It just feels like it's been like 50 NBA slates, and it's only been a few. maybe because of all the late swapping and everything like that. And I want to just remind everybody, you have to late swap. I'm not saying it's like an option. If you are able to, you have to make yourself available to late swap. If you have any kind of real money on any of this stuff, you have almost no chance in the long run to ever make any money unless you're using the late swap tools. From whatever site you're using, I would suggest I would prefer you're using SaberSim through us, because that is honestly I think it's the best offering. And if you're not, though, if you're just using SaberSim, use that late swap tool, capitalize on it. What I'll do sometimes is I'll change a few players' projections when I rerun the build, when I run the late swap, and then run the sims, and then you're good to go. All right, so that's running without. Oh, that was with the sims. All right, so let's see what we got here on FanDuel. So yeah, it's got all the LeBron. I think it makes sense. Like with no AD, I think we just have to kind of do it. Getting to a lot of Van Vliet, I think it's because of the price over there. But those of you guys who have been watching, it's sort of he's sort of option. He's not exactly option one over there. So that might be something we could try and fade. Ty Jerome makes plenty of sense. We'll see later on about the Cleveland news. Most of the stuff is fairly in line. A little more Anthony Edwards over here, just because it's easier to spend up. So you're going to get more spend ups naturally on FanDuel than you will on DraftKings, unless they're center. That's usually the way that it goes. And I'm just going to bet that Donovan Mitchell or one of the Cleveland guys I think may sit, and hopefully we'll have that news well before lock. But either way, should have it before lock no matter what. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all very much. Anybody has any questions or thoughts, and throw them out in our Discord. We've got a good active Discord going on. And again, if you haven't tried the trial, check it out. And if you have, and you want to get one of the packs, and one of the things that we can offer that's because we're like a smaller site and we don't have as many customers to cater to quite yet. We really try we're trying to make everybody a better player. We're trying to really do what we can to try and help everybody actually become a better player, not just give the plays of the day right now. That's why I want to just sort of go through the way that I treat NBA process. Sheets goes through all of his process every day. And we really think that there's something to it. And that includes with a lot of conversations back and forth in Discord and how things should be looked at and what projections to use, sets to use, all that stuff. And yeah, I just want to, tell you guys, it's really, really valuable if you want to come and join our team. I use Sheets and Goldie's combined projections when I won the million, like 10 days ago, whatever it was. I use Sheets and Goldie's combined with SaberSim. Then I made my hand tweak edits to my lineups, which were usually like a 1v1 or a 2v2. And the lineups that won, I finished first in that one. I finished fifth in the other Millionaire Maker. Those were that one was essentially hand built, but it was referring to the combination of Sheets, Goldie, and SaberSim's projections. And I really think it's a great offering. So please check it out. Good luck to everybody today. I'll be live at 6 Eastern. We will go